Hey, this is John from Alloy 211. Today's video is on the Heritage Rough Rider 22 single action revolver. This particular one being the combination cylinder 22 long rifle and 22 Magnum. It also is a bit fancier model given that it's got the faux case hardened finish, which is very handsome, and the fancy wood grips. So the MSRP on this one is a little higher than say your plainer model with just the 22 long rifle cylinder. The MSRP on this particular one is about $250, whereas for one that is a little bit plainer, without the case hardened finish or the fancy wood grips, that's about $195 MSRP. Although generally you'll find these on sale, I paid about $188 for this. So, you know, all in all, pretty cheap, especially given the fit and finish of this firearm. The fit and finish on this is great. The fit between the frame, which is made out of aluminum, and the barrel and the grips is really good, very little gap. It all feels very tight and very nice. Now this is based off of the Colt 1873 single action, like a lot of other 22 long rifle single action revolvers at this price point. There are a few differences though between this and an 1873. Now dimensionally the grip size is about the same, but the cylinder itself and the frame is narrower. Also you'll notice as I flip it over, we have a hammer block safety, which is definitely not something you'd find on an original 1873. And I'm not really a big fan of it, but in some ways I can understand why on a gun in 2019 you would want it. Although one of the reasons why you may want it is to carry it with all the chambers loaded with the safety engaged. But it very clearly states in the owner's manual, do not carry it with all six cylinders loaded. In fact, you're supposed to carry it with the hammer over an empty cylinder like your traditional single action. So what utility this is very little, especially if you consider you're supposed to carry it with, you know, an empty cylinder anyway. Otherwise, it's a pretty faithful copy of the 1873. The checkering on the top of the hammer is really nice. It is really aggressive. It's something I wanted to make sure I pointed out because on the other 22 single action I have, it is not nearly as well defined as it is on this. And as I said, the fit and finish on this is great. You don't see any casting marks. The barrel is steel, cylinder is steel, both cylinders are steel. The crown on the muzzle is very nice. So all in all, for a $188 gun, what I paid for it, or even $250, the fit and finish on it is really nice. The trigger is also really nice. I really appreciated this. It's kind of beveled, it's wide, it's centered in the frame. So, and it operates like your standard single action revolver. You put the hammer, the second notch, open your loading gate, and then you align your cylinders. Use your ejector rod to eject your spent shell casing, load it, turn it, and you can eject them all, empty them all out, or you can eject them and load them at the same time. You know, it depends on what you're doing. No matter what, it's a slow system. So you can go ahead and bring the hammer back slightly. And with this, it is nice. You can have that hammer safety, or the hammer safety on, hammer block safety, which it is just a simple rounded piece, just flips up into the way of the hammer. Now taking this out onto the range, there was something I did notice that I really didn't care for about the Heritage Rough Rider, and that is, let's set that down, use the 22 Magnum cylinder to show you, this ridge around the outside edge of the cylinder. Now, I didn't really care for this. Let's try to get it focused. There we go. Because, now it's fine, and it's really actually kind of nice. It's nicely machined, it's very clean, but when you're going to load your little tiny 22s down into here, now let's get that so you can see it, little tiny 22, empty shell casing, not loaded. You go to put it down in, go to put it down in there. When you go to seat it, that little ridge is it's not in the way. And on a clean firearm, it's absolutely fine. But I did notice throughout the day, as the chambers started to get a little dirty, and the round didn't want to quite go all the way in, it would feel like it was in, but then you would realize it wasn't as it came down. Try try to see if you can see this, as it came down to where the loading gate is right there. And if it was sticking up proud, it would get kind of jammed. And I ended up actually with one round having to take my knife and just gently push it in, which was kind of nerve-wracking, honestly. I don't really like pushing on the back of that, and so that was one deficiency I found with it in shooting it. Now, practical accuracy on it was great. I didn't actually put it to paper because, well, it's winter, and it's a little cold to be doing good accuracy testing. But I did shoot it at a 13x16 silhouette at 100 feet, had no problem hitting that, and 6-inch targets that are on a dueling tree at 50 feet. My overall impressions of the firearm, I'm happy with it. In all honesty, if it didn't have the 22 Magnum cylinder, I wouldn't have purchased it. I had to justify it somehow, and I don't have anything in 22 Magnum, so this is how I justified it. Now, we did shoot 22 Magnum and 22 long rifle, functioned fine with both, and was accurate with both. So overall, my impressions of the firearm, it's a good quality firearm. It is maybe a little bit on the higher end of these lower priced 22 single actions, but if you're looking for a good looking gun that functions and is accurate, this is definitely the way to go. Now, there are some drawbacks to this design that I'm going to get into, and I'm going to be doing another video here coming up directly comparing this to the Chiappa. So before we get too much into that, the only thing I'm really going to point out in this video that I really didn't care for was going back to the safety. And that is, you could have the safety on like that, go to thumb the hammer back, and if your thumb is sticking proud of the hammer like that, which can happen, you could flip it off. Now, granted, you should never rely on a safety to guarantee that you're not going to fire the gun, but in the same stroke, if you were to do that and not realize it, well, now you have your hammer back, possibly over a live chamber, and you think you have a safety in the way. So whether that's actually a real problem or not, or a legitimate concern, I don't know, but I don't really care for it. Although, in the same stroke, it gives you the ability to take it off as you bring the hammer back. So I guess it's a plus and a minus in some ways. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. If you watched some of my other videos and you like those too, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. So that's my opinion of the Heritage Rough Rider. Am I upset with or do I think that I overpaid for it? No, but would I have liked to have paid less for it? Well, yeah. I mean, I probably would have bought the less fancy model, except this one just happened to be on sale, and I happened to be buying something else at the same time, so I just said, what the heck, I'll buy it. The overall impression of it is a good gun, and even for $250, I wouldn't be upset with it. So, thanks again, and have a good day.